Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, Nonstop Talking with your girl here, Vivian Blue. This is the second video that I am filming today. If you saw my previous video, I mentioned how this area is swollen right now, so my cheeks are bigger than usual, and that I am being eaten alive by mosquitoes potentially because my body is itchy and I have a lot of red bumps. To add to that, I also haven't washed my hair in a while, hence the bun, and just breaking out from wearing a mask all day and just not coming to you in the best physical condition, I suppose. But you know what? We're gonna go. Where are we gonna go? I mean, like, I guess what I was trying to say was we're just gonna go with it? Yeah. But like I said, this is the second video that I am filming today. My earlier video that I filmed was my mid-year book freakout tag, which I will link down below if you're interested. But after filming that, I thought it would be kind of nice to do my best and worst books of 2020 so far. So what I did was I printed out like my complete list of books that I've read so far in 2020, and then I highlighted all the 4 and above in yellow, and then I highlighted all the below 3 in green, and then from there I like picked the 10 best, and then, or I tried to narrow it down to 10, and then I picked the 5 worst. And it'll just be really interesting to see how this list will change once the end of the year happens. Most of these books I've talked about before, so I'm just gonna kind of do this really quickly. And well, let's start. We're gonna begin with the best and end with the worst. And at number 1 is The Last Olympian by Rick Riordan. This is the 5th and final book in the Percy Jackson series, and honestly, I am sorry to myself that it took me this long to pick up this middle grade series, because it's fantastic. There's fun, excitement, adventure, and humor, and I really enjoyed all the characters and watching them grow and mature. I gave The Last Olympian a really high rating. I think it was a 5 out of 5 because it was just such a solid conclusion, and I think it's really hard from a book series that was great from the beginning to stay great all the way until the end. And overall, like I said, this series is just fantastic. I highly recommend you pick it up if you're like me and did not read it as a kid. And I'm really excited to see the Disney live action that will be possibly coming soon. I forgot to tell you that this order, it's not ranking, it's literally like how I read them from the year. So like obviously I picked up the last book in the Percy Jackson series in January, and then it goes from there. So that's what the numbers represent. I didn't actually like rank them. Like we're not about that right now. And so yeah, number 2 is Broken by Nicola Hacken. This book was just this beautiful, sad story about love, life, and living. And if you do want to pick up this precious beauty, I recommend that you please look up trigger warning beforehand. The mental health portrayal in this just really moved me to tears, and the main couple, their romance, and the side characters were all great. 5 out of 5. Number 3 is Star Wars, Darth Vader and Kids by Jeffrey Brown. I read this children's book series a few years back and loved it. So this was a reread, and once again, loved it again. It's very cute. It's this take on if Darth Vader took on his father's duty, and it's just a collection of like 4 picture books, and Darth Vader and Son is my favorite. I gave it a 5 out of 5. And then there is Vader's Little Princess, which I gave a 4.5 out of 5. And then there's this really like clever rhyming bedtime story called Good Night Darth Vader, which I gave a 4 out of 5. And I think Jeffrey Brown is just super funny, and like this like collection just made me very happy. Number 4 is Flip by Gwendolyn Van Dranen. I hope I said the last name correctly. But yes, so Flip was a childhood favorite, and I thought it would be fun to do like a little like rereading childhood favorites kind of thing. I know that not everyone loves the ending because it's kind of open-ended and it's like a up to reader's interpretation kind of conclusion, but I didn't mind it at all. I loved like just being back in the story with Julie and Bryce again and seeing them grow and mature. The story is just really touching and really poignant, and I think like it's a great book. There's also a movie, and maybe one day I will watch it. I'm not sure, but if you've never read this, I do recommend you giving it a try. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. Number 5 is I Want to Eat Your Pancreas by Yoru Sumino. Don't get freaked out by this title. This is actually a really bittersweet story between two high school classmates. There's this shy and invisible boy and this terminally ill girl, and if that doesn't spell the recipe for tears, then I don't know why I cried so much. The twist in the end killed me. It's just this like great example of life is not fair, y'all. The ploy of keeping like the boy's name a secret until the end, I loved it. I don't know why. I just thought it was just it just added that extra pizzazz to it. But yeah, I read the manga and I thought the art was really adorable. It's quite fast-paced, so there were certain things that like looking back I would have wanted to be more developed, but then maybe I should have checked out the light novel instead. But yeah, this was just such an emotional and sentimental coming of age tale, and there was this one scene towards the end with the boy that just really gutted me. I gave this a 4.5 out of 5, and yeah, if you were in a little mood to just cry and feel like wow, life really isn't fair, pick this up. Number 6 is Night Sky with Exit Wounds by Ocean Vuong. Ocean Vuong is a gem, and this is his poetry collection. Like with all collections, there's obviously gonna be ones that you love, you like, and you think are okay, and I think with this one, the ones that I loved, and I actually got introduced to Ocean Vuong through YouTube. I watched like 2 or 3 videos of him reading poems from his collection, and from there I was like, okay, I need my own physical copy, and so I went and bought my own physical copy, and then I annotated it, and just yeah, super moving. 4.5 out of 5. Number 7 is Ten Dance by Sato Inoue. The manga just gets better as it continues. There's just so much chemistry and passion, and the art just oozes dancing and emotion. It's really like just magnificent because of the fact that like the amount of feeling and just like the story and the art can convey. It's a little mind-blowing. The way volume 5 ends has me like dying for volume 6, and I just need to read that as soon as possible. And honestly, like I read the first volume I think last year, and I gave it like a 3.5 out of 5. So I thought it was good, but it wasn't like great. And then now I'm like at now I've like read volume 5 recently, and I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. So you can see just how much like it has grown, and it's just terrific, and I'm looking forward to volume 6. Number 8 is With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. I listened to audiobook, which I thought was beautifully narrated by the author, and I think that's one of the better ways to consume the story. However, the physical copy of this book is stunning. The story is diverse and it's vibrant, and I was actually like really impressed by how like real life the struggles depicted in this book felt. I loved all the characters, from like the abuela to like the best friend and to even the main character's crush. There was just so much culture and identity injected throughout the story, which was something I really appreciated, and I ended up giving this a 4 out of 5. Number 9 is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. So Christina Lauren has delivered yet another fantastic rom-com. This was Hate to Love done right, which is one of my favorite romance tropes. I adored the banter and the humor, and was thoroughly entertained from beginning to end. At times, Olive did get slightly annoying to me, but it wasn't a big deal. I really just liked the romance and the in this, and overall great stuff. 4 out of 5. Number 10 is Mooncakes, written by Suzanne Walker and illustrated by Wendy Zhu. I loved Mooncakes so much, and it took me so long for my library app to finally get this book. And when I got this book, I was like, is it gonna live up to expectations? And it really did. Okay, it's a diverse graphic novel about a witch girl and her returning wolf friend. The coloring, the plot, the magic, and the main character's fashion are just some of the things that I really enjoyed about this. But overall, I thought it was just very sweet and very fluffy, and if that's something you are looking for, then check this out. I gave it a 4 out of 5. Alright, so that's the 10 best from 2020 so far. So now we go on to the 5 worst. And I know I said 5 in my intro, but you know what? I'm going to throw in another title, so it's going to be 6 worst. Starting off the list is the one that I ranked the lowest, and it's We All Looked Up by Tommy Wallach. This book has a full audio cast and a really nice cover. There's a video on YouTube that like shows how the cover was show how the cover was like taken, and I was like, wow, that's really impressive. Except that the story did not deliver. Like, the premise was so promising, but like the execution just didn't work out. All the characters suck. There's no one to root for, and like I've said before, like if I don't like not even one character in your story, like there's no one for me to root for, like I literally will check out from the story. And so that was a problem. Another problem I had with it was that there was no stakes or urgency to the story, even though it's about the world ending. Like, how do you not have stakes? How do you not have urgency? How do you make me not care about that? Like, I just thought the plot was really boring, and there was like random slut shaming, which is never good. And I just sat through all of this, and come time for the conclusion, it was such a disappointing conclusion. Like, I did not like the conclusion. Nothing about this worked with me, and I ended up giving it a 1.5 out of 5. Number 2 is Sunstone Volume 1. This is about 2 women who engage in like a BDSM relationship, and I was really intrigued by the premise, but then when I picked it up, I was really bored. I thought it was like really dialogue heavy, and I just was like kind of lost and really uninterested. Yeah, I just couldn't get into the story, but the art is superb though, and I ended up giving this a 2 out of 5. Number 3 is Boxers by Jean Luen Yang. I really loved American Born Chinese by Jean Luen Yang, and for some reason none of his other stuff have been able to match that, in my opinion. Boxers is part of a duology, and both of the books disappointed me, honestly, and it just like disappointed me even more because I had expectations going into this because I've liked the author's previous stuff. But yeah, like honestly, nothing in this vibed with me. I didn't like the history, the magic, the mythical stuff, and the characters and the plot, and just yeah, like it didn't connect with me, and I ended up giving it a 2 out of 5. Number 4 is My Favorite Half Night Stand by Christina Lauren. This was so boring, okay? Like, the basic premise is a friend catfishing another friend, which is just wrong, okay? Like, you can't change that and make it seem like, oh, it's just this cute little thing. No, it's wrong, okay? And then the friend group in this, they don't even like come off as like actual close friends, so there's that too. Yeah, the book just made me like kind of sleepy, and I just could not care. I ended up giving this a 2 out of 5. Number 5 is Hannibal by Thomas Harris. This is the 3rd book in the Hannibal Lecter series, and I don't know why that I was so crazy this year and was like, you know what, I've read the first 2 books in this series, let's just trek on. Don't trek on. Don't continue with the series. End it with just the first 2 and have good memories of that. Don't go in and killing things by reading this 3rd book. I should have just stuck with what I originally did and just completed the series with just the 2 books. This like 3rd one, the biggest problem I had with it was that it ruined Clarissa. Like, it really ruined her character. That was not her, or the her that we've met in the first 2 books, and that was just so upsetting. And the ending, pure disappointment. 2 out of 5. Number 6 is On the Edge by Alison Van Diepen. Honestly, the story was just really cliche. The romance was too insta love. Of course, high school teenagers can take on and defeat actual gangsters. That's super believable. I don't know. I think maybe like I'm too old for this kind of like high school contemporary romance. Like it's past my age, and it doesn't vibe with this jaded adult that I am right now. Maybe that's the real problem. But I ended up giving this a 2 out of 5. Alright, that is the 10 best and the 6 worst reads or books of 2020 so far for me. Let's see how things will change when the end of the year happens. I actually have a lot of disappointing reads this year, and I know previously like I would combine disappointing and worst, but I think this year I might have to do it like separate, and I predict that it's going to be really hard to narrow it down. Before I do my outro, I still want to reiterate that Black lives still matter, and that the police needs to be defunded. And I'm talking about this in the case of the US, because that's where I live and that's where I watch the news and see these things happening. And honestly, the US just needs change. Like, there's just so many it's okay. Outro time. Like, comment, subscribe. See you in my next video, whenever that is. Bye. Like, I don't know, the plot is just so boring. Yes?
Are you filming?
Yes.
Can you stop?